I want to talk to you today about something that's genuinely confusing for a great many older adults and where the advice has actually changed over the years, causing real misunderstanding. What your blood pressure should be, what the right target is, and the common mistakes people make in thinking about it. Because blood pressure is one of the most important numbers for your heart and your health. And yet there's widespread confusion about what's too high, what's too low, what the target should be in older age, and how to think about it. And some of what people learned years ago has been refined as understanding has improved. So today I want to clear up the common misconceptions about blood pressure targets in older adults, explain why blood pressure matters so much, why the target can be individual, especially in later life, and how to work with your doctor to get yours right. And I'll keep this calm and practical, because while this is genuinely important and a bit nuanced, understanding how blood pressure targets work and that they're set individually with your doctor helps you be an informed partner in protecting your heart and brain, rather than confused by changing or conflicting messages. Let me start with why blood pressure matters so much, because that's the foundation. Blood pressure is the pressure of the blood against your artery walls, and it matters because when it's too high over time, hypertension, it silently damages your arteries and strains your heart, raising the risk of the most serious events: heart attacks, strokes, heart failure, kidney damage, and more. High blood pressure is often called a silent killer, precisely because it usually causes no symptoms while it does this damage, so you can't feel whether yours is high, which is why it must be measured. The crucial point is that controlling high blood pressure, bringing it down toward an appropriate target, genuinely reduces the risk of these devastating events, which is one of the best established and most powerful protections in all of medicine. So blood pressure matters enormously because high blood pressure silently damages the arteries and heart and raises the risk of heart attacks, strokes and more, while controlling it powerfully reduces that risk. And because it's silent, it must be measured rather than felt and managed toward a target. So understanding that blood pressure is a silent but powerful risk and that controlling it protects you is the foundation for understanding why the target matters and why getting it right is worth the effort. Let me address the first common misconception, which the changing advice has fed, that there's one simple universal number everyone should be at, or that the old rules of thumb still apply. People often remember rules of thumb from years past, like the idea that a higher blood pressure is simply normal and fine as you age, or a single fixed number that applies to everyone. And the advice has indeed been refined over time, as research has improved, which causes confusion. The reality is more nuanced and more individual. Broadly, understanding has moved toward recognizing that controlling high blood pressure is beneficial, including in older adults, so the old idea that high blood pressure is just a harmless part of aging that needn't be treated has been corrected. That's a genuine misconception to drop. But importantly, the right target is not necessarily the same for everyone, and in older adults especially, the target is set individually, taking into account your overall health, other conditions, frailty, other medications, and how you respond to treatment, balancing the benefits of lowering blood pressure against the risks of lowering it too much in some individuals. So the first key understanding is that there isn't one simple universal number, that high blood pressure is worth treating including in older age, but that the right target is set individually with your doctor, especially in later life, rather than by an old rule of thumb. So an individualized target, not a universal rule, is the first key. Let me explain the nuance of targets in older adults, because this is where the genuine subtlety lies and where working with your doctor matters most. In older adults, setting the blood pressure target involves a genuine balance. On one hand, controlling high blood pressure protects against strokes, heart attacks and other events, so bringing a high pressure down is beneficial. On the other hand, lowering blood pressure too much, or too aggressively, in some older adults, particularly those who are frail or have certain conditions, can cause problems like dizziness, falls from the drops in pressure on standing I've discussed, and other issues, so the target must be balanced for the individual. This is why your doctor sets your target based on you, your age, overall health, frailty, other conditions, other medications, and how you tolerate treatment, aiming to get the protection of controlling your blood pressure without the harms of overtreating it. So the target is individual, and it's a balance, which is exactly why this is something to work out with your doctor rather than from a fixed number or a headline. The nuance is real. Control high blood pressure for its protection, but individualize the target especially in older or frailer people, to avoid the harms of going too low. So an individualized balance worked out with your doctor is the key to targets in later life. So balance and individualization define older adult targets. Let me address another common misconception: misunderstanding the two numbers and what they mean. Blood pressure is given as two numbers, the higher one and the lower one, representing the pressure when the heart beats and when it rests between beats. And people often don't understand what they mean or which matters, leading to confusion. Both numbers carry information, and in older adults, the higher number in particular often gets attention. But rather than get lost in interpreting your own numbers in isolation, the practical key is to know your numbers, record them, and discuss them with your doctor, who interprets them in the context of your target and overall health. Also common is the mistake of judging your blood pressure by a single reading, when blood pressure naturally varies through the day and with activity, stress, and circumstances. So one high or low reading isn't the whole picture. What matters is the pattern over time and readings taken properly. So the key understandings here are that both numbers matter, and your doctor interprets them for you, and that blood pressure should be judged by the pattern over time, not a single reading. Know your numbers and the pattern, and let your doctor interpret them against your individual target. So understanding the numbers and judging by the pattern with your doctor's interpretation is another key. Let me address the misconception around home monitoring and how blood pressure is measured, because errors here cause real confusion. Many older adults monitor their blood pressure at home, which can be genuinely valuable, but mistakes in how it's measured lead to misleading numbers and unnecessary worry or false reassurance. Blood pressure should be measured properly to be meaningful, sitting and rested for a few minutes beforehand, not right after activity, caffeine, or stress, with the right cuff size, the arm supported at heart level, and ideally a couple of readings and a validated monitor. A reading taken wrong, when you've just rushed about or are anxious, can be misleadingly high, causing needless worry, while readings vary naturally, so a single number out of context can mislead. The valuable approach is to measure properly, record your readings over time, and share them with your doctor, who can use the pattern to assess your control against your individual target. And home readings can genuinely help your doctor manage your blood pressure well. So the key is to measure home blood pressure properly and judge by the pattern over time, sharing it with your doctor, rather than reacting to single, possibly mismeasured readings. Proper measurement and pattern, shared with your doctor, make home monitoring valuable rather than confusing. So correct measurement and pattern is another key. Let me explain why getting the target right matters so much, because the stakes run both ways. Getting your blood pressure appropriately controlled matters enormously because, as I said, high blood pressure silently raises the risk of strokes, heart attacks, heart failure, and kidney damage, and controlling it powerfully reduces that risk. So an undertreated high blood pressure leaves you exposed to devastating, preventable events. At the same time, in older adults, getting the target right rather than overlowering it matters because overtreatment can cause dizziness, falls, and other harms. So the goal is the right level of control for you, the appropriate individual target. This is exactly why the target is individualized with your doctor, to capture the powerful protection of controlling high blood pressure while avoiding the harms of going too low in those for whom that's a risk. So getting the target right matters because both undertreatment, leaving you exposed to strokes and heart attacks, and overtreatment, risking dizziness and falls, have real consequences, and the individualized target aims to get the protection without the harm. This is why blood pressure is worth understanding and managing carefully with your doctor, neither ignored nor over-aggressively chased to a number that isn't right for you. So getting the individualized target right protects you both ways. Let me be clear about how to work with your doctor on this, because that partnership is how you get your target right. Your doctor sets and manages your blood pressure target based on your individual situation, and your role is to be an informed, engaged partner. So work with your doctor. Have your blood pressure checked and monitored as advised. Know your numbers, and if you monitor at home, measure properly and share the pattern. Ask your doctor what your target is and why, given your age, health, and other conditions, since understanding your individual target helps you engage. Take any blood pressure medication consistently as prescribed and never stop or change it on your own. bringing side effects like dizziness to your doctor, rather than stopping as I've discussed. Support your blood pressure with the lifestyle measures that help, which I'll touch on. And keep your appointments and monitoring. If you're confused by changing or conflicting messages about blood pressure, your doctor can explain what your target is and why, cutting through the confusion. So the foundation is partnership with your doctor. Monitor, as advised, know your numbers and target. Take medication properly, support it with lifestyle, and bring questions and side effects to your doctor. So informed partnership on your individual target is the foundation. Let me touch on the lifestyle side, because it genuinely helps your blood pressure alongside any medication. Lifestyle measures meaningfully support healthy blood pressure. A healthy diet, including reducing salt, which raises blood pressure, and eating plenty of fruits, vegetables, and whole foods, as I'll discuss more elsewhere. Staying physically active, which helps lower blood pressure. Maintaining a healthy weight. Limiting alcohol. Not smoking. And managing stress. These can lower blood pressure and, in partnership with your doctor, sometimes reduce the medication needed, though you should never stop medication on your own on the strength of lifestyle changes. Rather, discuss it with your doctor. So lifestyle measures, a healthy lower salt diet, activity, healthy weight, limited alcohol, not smoking, and stress management genuinely support healthy blood pressure alongside any medication and are part of getting your blood pressure right. So lifestyle support alongside medication and your doctor's guidance helps you reach and maintain your target. So healthy lifestyle is part of the picture. Let me paint you a picture of how getting this right plays out. Picture a woman in her 70s confused about her blood pressure. She's heard high blood pressure is just normal aging. She judges herself by occasional home readings, taken right after rushing about. And she's unsure what her target should be, so she's anxious and inconsistent, sometimes skipping her medication. In the confused version, she either undertreats a genuinely harmful high blood pressure, leaving herself exposed to a stroke, or worries needlessly over mismeasured readings. Now picture her getting it right. She learns that controlling high blood pressure genuinely protects her, drops the myth that it's harmless aging, and asks her doctor what her individual target is and why, given her health, so she understands it. She measures her home blood pressure properly and shares the pattern. Her doctor sets an appropriate target, balancing protection against the risk of over-lowering. She takes her medication consistently and brings any dizziness to her doctor rather than stopping. And she supports it with a lower salt diet, activity, and healthy weight. Her blood pressure is well controlled at the right level for her, protecting her from stroke and heart attack without overtreatment. The confusion is replaced by an understood, individualized plan. That contrast is exactly why understanding blood pressure targets and working them out with your doctor matters so much. So an understood, individualized partnered plan protects her. And let me speak directly to those of you caring for or close to an older person, because blood pressure confusion is common and you can help. Understand that high blood pressure silently raises the risk of strokes and heart attacks and is worth controlling, including in older age, dropping the myth that it's harmless aging, but that the right target is individual, especially in older adults, balancing the protection of control against the risk of over-lowering, which can cause dizziness and falls. You can help by encouraging a clear conversation with their doctor about what their individual target is and why, cutting through changing or conflicting messages. You can help with proper home monitoring, measuring correctly when rested, recording the pattern, and sharing it with the doctor, rather than reacting to single readings. You can support consistent medication taking, never stopping it on their own, and bringing side effects like dizziness to the doctor. And you can support the lifestyle measures, a lower salt healthy diet, activity, healthy weight, limited alcohol, not smoking, and stress management, helping a loved one understand their individual blood pressure target, monitor properly, take medication consistently, and support it with lifestyle, all in partnership with their doctor, can protect them from devastating events while avoiding overtreatment, replacing confusion with an understood plan. So your support in understanding and managing their individual target genuinely helps. Let me draw this all together. What your blood pressure should be is a genuinely important but somewhat nuanced question, and the advice has been refined over the years, causing confusion. The foundation is that high blood pressure silently damages the arteries and heart and raises the risk of strokes, heart attacks, heart failure, and kidney damage, while controlling it powerfully reduces that risk, so it's worth treating, including in older age. And the old idea that it's harmless aging is a misconception to drop. But there isn't one universal number. The right target is individual, especially in older adults, balancing the protection of controlling high blood pressure against the risk of over-lowering it, which can cause dizziness and falls. So the target is set with your doctor based on your age, health, and conditions. Both blood pressure numbers carry information your doctor interprets, and blood pressure should be judged by the pattern over time, with proper measurement, not single or mismeasured readings. Getting the target right matters because both undertreatment and overtreatment have real consequences. The foundation is partnership with your doctor. Monitor, as advised, know your numbers and individual target, take medication properly, support it with lifestyle, and bring questions and side effects to your doctor. So here's what I'll leave you with. First, understand that high blood pressure silently raises the risk of strokes, heart attacks, and more, and is worth controlling, including in older age. So drop the old myth that it's just harmless aging. Second, understand that there isn't one universal number and that the right target is individual, especially in older adults, balancing the protection of controlling high blood pressure against the risk of over-lowering it, which can cause dizziness and falls, so ask your doctor what your individual target is and why. Third, know your numbers and judge your blood pressure by the pattern over time, not single readings. And if you monitor at home, measure properly, sitting and rested with the right cuff and technique, and share the pattern with your doctor, who interprets it against your target. Fourth, take any blood pressure medication consistently as prescribed, never stopping or changing it on your own, and bring side effects like dizziness to your doctor, who can adjust things, and support your blood pressure with lifestyle measures, a lower salt healthy diet, activity, healthy weight, limited alcohol, not smoking, and stress management. And fifth, work with your doctor as your partner in setting and reaching your individual target, keeping your appointments, and monitoring, and asking your doctor to explain your target if changing or conflicting messages confuse you. Getting your blood pressure right, at the individual target that's appropriate for you, in partnership with your doctor, powerfully protects your heart and brain while avoiding overtreatment. So it's well worth understanding rather than being confused by changing messages. So take care of yourself, know your numbers and your target, manage your blood pressure with your doctor, and support it with healthy living. And because setting your individual blood pressure target and managing your treatment require a doctor, please treat your blood pressure as something to understand and manage in partnership with your own physician, asking what your target is and why rather than from a fixed rule, and never stop or change blood pressure medication on your own.